Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Monday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. It's Monday, and that's weird, and I'm going to butcher it several times, but we are now in our first episode of our brand new time slot at 11 o'clock a.m., first a.m. show for the Two Buck Sports Show. And we're here on Bluff City Media's YouTube channel. We're also on X. And so I would like to take this moment just right at the top to when I'm welcoming everybody to just also invite you over to the YouTube page, because the comments are always hopping in the YouTube page, and we want you to feel a part of this community here. And the best community is the Bluff City Media YouTube community. But it's Monday. Yeah. It's the Two Buck Sports Show. And we're looking a little different. Listen.
Not that
first
much
off,
different.
Kenny Stubblefield, honorary third buck, welcome to the show.
Man, I'm glad to be here. We don't look that. Me and Rusty, like we're kind of twinsies a little bit. Like he's better looking and younger.
I was gonna say, we've it's a lighter show. Well, we've lightened the load on the left side of the screen here, but to be honest with you and Rusty are just like mirror images of each other. So you're like the only person I can't say like that Rusty is just not a mammoth over. So
yeah. Shout out Daniel Gurr. Thank God no Rusty. Yeah, we're testing out. We're trying to. This might be a coup, honestly. Like we're thinking about making Rusty the third buck and me the one of the two bucks, possibly.
Yes, I think so. I'm. Hey, if you want to vote right now, we've got a 2/3 majority. We can make it happen. Yeah. So it's Monday. It's 11 a.m. and this is the Bluff City Media YouTube page, and we are two of the three bucks. So thank you to everybody for joining in. I know this is going to be a little weird, and because we changed our schedule, we've still got things that were scheduled from before we decided to move to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's why Rusty's not here today. Yeah. So he had an engagement from back when we were on Tuesday, Thursdays that he couldn't snake his way out of today. So I am appreciative. Kenny Stubblefield did join us today, and we got plenty to talk about.
Hold on. I need you to not North Mississippi my last name. What is my last? What'd you say?
Stubblefield.
You said Sturberfield a little bit. Sturberfield.
Hey, if there's, we don't even pronounce Mississippi correctly.
Mississippi.
Okay? It's Mississippi. It's Stubblefield. You know.
Stubblefield. Yeah.
This is not the show to correct grammar. Okay. If you're gonna be a stickler for grammar, you need to go watch another show.
This ain't the show. This ain't the show for that. Stubblefield.
So, all right. Our first show of the week used to be on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Now it's on Mondays, and our first segment for our first show of every week is a segment that we call the best and beef of the week. It's where we catch up, and as soon as I find a video here, we'll talk about it. Boom. Yeah, the best and beef of the week. The premise of this segment is very simple. Kenny.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, I want you to tell me the best thing that happened to you this week and your biggest beef of the weekend. We start with our best because we're just happy to be here. So, Kenny, what's the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
I survived the weekend. Does that count?
There you go.
Yeah, survived it. My daughter's been sick, so that'll be the next segment. The next part of this segment. My 13-year-old daughter is deathly ill, and
I hope you're exaggerating
a little bit.
Okay, because if you're here and she's actually, I'm gonna call the police on you.
Yeah, we're gonna call an audible on this whole thing. No, she's sick. She's been sick all weekend, and it's been tough, man. Like it's been a tough weekend for her and for our family. So, but anyway, the best is we survived it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, I like to go around the office, especially on Monday morning, and just be like, everybody have a good weekend. You're happy to be here. And most of the time, people are just saying, like, well, I'm here. And on days and weekends that just don't really go your way, it's important to remember, like, hey, we're still here. We're still kicking. We're upright on both legs. You know, we still got opposable thumbs. You know, it's a good day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me.
What about you? What about you? What was your best of the weekend?
Listen,
Now, if you say Ole Miss, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm just going to let you know.
I've got a whole segment. Okay,
Jesus.
I've got a whole segment. Job's not done though, but we're on our way. So for me, I've been waiting to deliver this piece of best news forever. And that is, we had a travel ball tournament this weekend. The Mississippi Braves got one in the left column, got a dub.
Wait,
Finally,
what? Talk to me.
My
I'm
son's
lost.
travel ball team was 0-27.
Bro.
We got a win.
Bro.
And not just a win, like 15-4 win in dominating fashion.
Shout out.
It was so much fun. It was truly so much fun. And it's one of those things, like, it's just a band of misfit toys out there. Most kids have never played travel ball before.
Right.
And by the time, if you put together an 8U, this is 8U coach pitch, and you would think like, oh, it's a good time to start. Well, if you're starting an 8U coach pitch, there are T-ball travel teams these days, and it's just not, like, you're behind. You're very, very behind. And so it's been tough, but they've gotten to be so much better. They've grown, and we honestly, we got into the bracket place. You have 2 pool games, and you have you're guaranteed at least one into the bracket, and then you just play until you lose. In our bracket game, we got walked off on, and so it's like you're in that one too. So,
I gotta shout out with Edward here. T-ball travel teams.
It would not surprise me. I haven't seen any, but it would not surprise me. Listen, I told myself I wouldn't ever get involved in this world too young.
Yeah.
And I feel like upper levels of coach pitch is when it becomes an argument to be appropriate. But yeah, some of these people just take it way too seriously. Way, way, way too seriously. I mean, there was 7U travel ball
sports. We played sports growing up. Like,
right.
What has changed? Because now I'm a parent. I'm a parent of a little girl who plays volleyball, and she plays for club volleyball. Played 12U or 13U this last year, and now she's gonna be playing 14 this year. She's played volleyball for a couple of years now, and it seems like amateur sports, like kids sports, has just gotten incredibly what's the word I'm looking for?
Saturated
so much, right?
Yeah, it is. And listen, the problem with it to me is the parents. And so if you get a good group of parents together that keep it about the right things and the kids enjoy it, then by all means go for it. You get into some of these places and the parents are just living through their kids, and that's a problem. And I've told my son 100 times, he's 8. He just turned 8 in March, and I was like, listen, if this becomes not fun, like, we'll stop. Like, I'm not gonna force you into this, and you've got to love it, and thankfully he does, and I hope he always continues to.
Right.
But you can't become your kids, by putting your kids into this stuff.
Living vicariously through your kids.
But the problem is it's become so popular.
Yeah.
And it's become so it's a scene that's thriving.
Yeah.
That I found myself thinking like we grew up, and I'm sure you're the same, Kenny. Like, we grew up playing park league ball, and everybody played park league except for a handful. And then you really kind of started cutting your teeth in middle school with all the intricacies of baseball.
Oh yeah.
If you do that today, you will never make the team.
You'll never make it.
You just can't keep up. Like, you can't. You don't. Middle school now is too young to start learning the game because the coaches will not put you on the team.
Well, and I think a lot of it is the political side of things has gotten crazy with sports, right? Like, if you don't play for the right rec team, the right travel teams, that kind of stuff in any sport, and we're seeing it in volleyball, you have to play for specific club teams, specific rec teams to be able to then even really get a look, right? Like, to get a look to play for your school teams. And
it does feed in, a lot of times to especially into like these bigger city stuff. So, like, I'm sure Memphis deals with this a lot, whereas North Mississippi probably doesn't as much. Where, like, if you want to play at Ripley, you could just be on just about any travel ball team. It's not that big of a school. The pool of applicants isn't as big,
Right.
But yeah, I could see how it'd be a problem if you wanted to go play at, say, Collierville, when you've got 200 kids trying out for a team, it'd be nice to be on the right travel ball team that feeds in that the coach knows,
That's exactly where my daughter has been. She just made the West Collierville middle school volleyball
Nice.
team. After being cut 2 years straight. She played for the right club this summer, got better. I mean, she's better now. She's better. She's growing. She's getting stronger, working her tail off. So she deserves the place that she made. But it is true, man.
Right.
Like, if you're not playing for the right travel teams, the right club teams, you're probably not going to get the look.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, I'll leave. I was talking to one of my best friends. I met him at a ball tournament. His name's Gary Parrish. You may have heard of him. I've joked about this a couple of times on the show. Like he's just always at these travel ball tournaments because our kids are the same age. And I was talking to him, and he was talking like, if you're a parent of a travel ball kid, support your kid. Don't be a jerk, okay? Because he's talked about before, like how every year, because of parent infighting with coaches and where their kids play positionally, it's like that team every year his kids' team falls apart. They have to form a new team because of just animosity between parents and coaches. So don't be that person. Don't be about your kids, okay?
Yeah.
So unless your kid is just obviously getting the shaft, but also as a parent, you've just kind of learned to teach your kids life sucks sometimes too. So.
That it's not a bad lesson, right? Like it's not a bad lesson. Like, hey,
my neighbor's kid, they're like family to us, and this is way longer than I meant to spend on this, but life lessons from the parents here. My neighbor's kid, and they're like family to us. She's going into 9th grade, and Ripley's a 4A school. It's a decent sized school. There's some competition there, and she did not make the team in softball and in basketball this year, and she was really defeated about it. And I just looked at her and I was like, listen, there's 2 routes you could take from this point. You could stop, or you can go bust your hump and take a page out of the Michael Jordan playbook. Not that she'll ever be Michael Jordan, but just like, hey, have some resilience, have some pride. If you want to do this, go do it.
Yeah.
And you've got no limits on you now. There's no practices you've got to go. You just, as much as you want to, get out in the gym and get better.
Yeah. And that's kind of where that's been the story with my daughter this year. And we'll get off this topic, but the story of my daughter is I have a picture of her from last year when she got the news that she didn't make the team, and we used it as kind of a motivation, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this entire year, she has not let it get her down. She's let it motivate her. And so I really like
it makes you more proud.
Oh yeah. So so now I have a video of her when she actually found out she made the team a couple of weeks back. And it was like,
oh, it's great.
Lots of tears, lots of celebration, lots of and not even just that she made the team, because if she hadn't made the team, it'd be whatever. But it was the fact that, man, you experienced crazy disappointment 2 years straight, and you didn't let it stop you. You kept fighting, kept working, you kept getting better. You stayed the course because you love the game, and you're being rewarded for it. And that's a beautiful thing. What a great life lesson. Right?
Oh, that's so great. It's such a great lesson to learn early too. Yeah. So I'm a fan of the West Collierville Lions, or whatever y'all's
Dragons, baby.
Dragons. Rawr.
Rawr.
So,
whoa. That's the lion.
Yeah, you're right. I can't do it. My dragon impersonation is it's still being workshopped.
I need to go watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. We'll watch Game of Thrones and come up with a
Dracarys.
good
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a lot of time on our best of the week. That's what I like to hear. So we'll spend a very little amount of time on our beef of the week. You go first.
She was sick and it sucked.
Yeah, mine's the same. Leslie, it's been running through our house. And we've got 4 kids, okay? And they all up until last week, go to public school or daycare. And my wife's a school teacher. If one of us gets it, we all get it. I mean, that's just how it is. And so thankfully, I think it finished with our youngest last night.
Yeah.
But it did derail a water park trip for my kids that they were upset about. So
that sucks.
It did derail that today, but they're all right. Like I said, life sucks, then you die. That's what my 8th grade teacher used to tell us all the time.
Lord.
I had one teacher told us, like, life sucks, then you die. He was a pessimist. He was from South Louisiana. He was a Cajun. His name Mr. Abear. And the other teacher was like, would smack you on top of the head. And he's like, life tough, get a helmet. Welcome to Kossuth, Mississippi.
Let's go.
All right. That's our best and beef for the week. Let's get into a little bit of sports. segment number 2 is where we talk about the NBA. It says talking Grizzlies. We always try to make a parallel here with the Grizzlies, so I'm sure we'll get there. But we're talking about the NBA Finals being said, the Eastern Conference Finals ending over the weekend. But before we do that, I'll tell you that I am Uncle Buck. I've got Kenny Stubblefield with me, and this is the 2 Buck Sports Show on Bluff City Media at our new time, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at 11 o'clock a.m. An early lunch break for everybody. And I want to appreciate everybody in the comments. I want to appreciate everybody tuning in. Talk with us, hang out with us, get in our DMs. We enjoy, if there's one thing that we enjoy more than anything in the world, it's just interacting. I really need a producer. I'm just scrolling my mouse. I accidentally hit it. Anyway, forget it. Yeah, thanks for being here. All right. So over the weekend, we saw the Indiana Pacers win the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 6 at home in Indianapolis, and sent the Knicks home. So listen, if I'd have told you OKC and Indiana Pacers in the finals, you would have, told me I was performing black magic or believing in witchcraft.
You're a crazy man.
Before we get to the finals, what's your lasting thought with the Knicks and with the Pacers?
I think it's the big thing about the Knicks and the Pacers, I think, is just the Pacers' ability to just implement their game plan, not stray away from it, and just their depth and their overall aggressiveness just really exposed, I think, some issues with the Knicks, right? Like with the Knicks and their roster, the way they're coached. Just, again, just an example, I think, of a team that has an identity, that has a culture, and that does not stray away from it. And even in the midst of when all like this year, when they were 500 or maybe a little bit below 500, and then man had to go on a big run to get actually into the playoffs. Just I think they're a team that just exerted their identity and won the series. I mean, just beat up on the Knicks. I did not think that was going to happen at all.
Yeah. I was blown away by the Pacers for sure.
Yeah.
I thought that they were devastating, and it's one of the more unheralded runs through the playoffs that I think we've seen, because there was, and we talked about it through every round. It's like up until they won this Eastern Conference series against the New York Knicks, they had to go through Milwaukee where Dame tore his ACL or his Achilles, whichever one it was. And then
Achilles.
they went through Cleveland, who had Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Evan, what's his name? Anyway, had several people just get banged up, and it was always about injuries. And I kept on saying, like, listen, longevity and health is something to be praised, not deducted from the team that wins because the other team gets healthy.
Why are we putting an asterisk next to the Pacers for that?
Yeah,
right.
I kept preaching the whole time. Like, I know this is 2 years in a row, but at some point, health is a skill, and I'm done, putting asterisks on the Pacers. And then they went full force against a Knicks team that was as healthy as any team in the NBA.
Yeah.
And humiliated them in 2 games, and then it was just better than them. Just up
better.
And down the roster. A heavy payroll team. You got Cat, you got Brunson, who's all NBA. You got wing players that everybody dreams over in OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart's a super, spark plug kind of guy, a guy that every team wants a guy that every team wants on their team.
Right. Mikal Bridges.
They just beat them. And Bridges the same way. I mean, they gave up 5 first-round picks for Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And, they just beat them. And somehow it's surprising. And I'm done being surprised. But as far as the Knicks go, like, where do you go from here? I see a lot of talk about Cat being traded in the offseason and these big possible moves that, do you blow it up? Is that a vibe you get from the Knicks? Is that blowing it up may be a reasonable thought to exercise to play out?
I guess what would be your definition of blowing it up, right? Like
trading Cat. I
You
think
think trading Cat
I
is
think that's
blowing
a
it up?
big move. Yeah, I think that's a big move. So
Even if trading Cat means you get, when I think of blowing up, I think of trading away big contracts for players that are in their prime or maybe right outside of their prime, moving away from their prime to
yeah.
get assets for the future, right? Like
So
that's
I guess blowing it up, it is appropriate for us to kind of lay out the guidelines for blowing it up. Typically, blowing it up means start tanking and get rid of everything for draft picks. No, there's no situation where you should blow it nuclear. Choose the nuclear option here. By no means at all. I think the biggest move, you know, that could show like this ain't working and we need to scrap this part of our team is getting off of Cat. Do you
mm.
think that's an option that they should consider?
I think they could. I mean, I think all things are on the table, right? Like I think, but this Cat contract is not going to be an easy contract to get rid of. Like it's not going to be an easy
Right.
to move off of the Cat contract. The fact that New York was able to make it work, um, makes me wonder if they thought let's go all in for this 1 year,
Well,
and then move off of Cat, right?
well,
Like
case
because
in
it
point, like I, for one, I hated the return that Minnesota got for Cat. And so that tells you how hard it is a lot of times to get rid of a contract like Cat's because the Timberwolves got back Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo and forget what we saw about Julius Randle in the first 2 rounds. We saw
he
what
is
Julius
who he
actually
is who he is.
in the
He is
Western
who he
Conference
is.
Finals, who he's been his whole career. So
Right.
that's what you got back for Cat to start with. And so other teams around the league is like, oh, if we want Cat,
Mm.
maybe we can go get him because the asking price can't be as big as what we actually think he's worth, I guess. Is that fair?
Why do you think? Look, what do you think? Do you think Minnesota getting off of Cat was a contract thing, or was it Ant and Cat don't work well together? This too big lineup with Rudy Gobert, the amount of money with Rudy Gobert and Cat was too
I think it
much.
I think it was a Gobert problem.
You
And
think it was
you're not
the
getting
Gobert
off
problem?
that contract. Yeah. I don't think there's no chance you're getting off the Gobert problem. So you had to get off the Cat problem or you're
Yeah.
paying taxes. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I think with Minnesota, it was definitely they. We had been saying it for a couple of seasons that Minnesota was going to be at their best when the team was running through Anthony Edwards, right? That
Right.
it was, and
Right.
with Cat on the team, it was never going to be the way that he plays, especially on the offensive side of the floor. He needs the ball. He needs to be the focal point, in that regard. And I just don't think he has the juice to be the guy, right? Like, which is
Right.
why I thought honestly, Cat thing with the Knicks would work, and I still think that it could work. Let's not forget they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like it's
Right.
not like they had a failure of a season, right? Like I think the
Right.
biggest thing for me is there are some clear flaws I think with their roster because they are so top heavy. They have so much money invested in the starting five, really, right?
Right.
And so it's like it's where but I don't think that it necessarily doesn't work. I wonder if it's more of they ran into a buzzsaw with the Indiana Pacers that were able to trot out so many different guys that could give different matchups and
Yes.
different looks that were good at what they did. And it just caused, and I wonder if the reason why New York lost this series is less about what Cat and Brunson did and more so the fact that they just don't have a roster or a coach that can compete with a roster with as much depth and as much talent as the Pacers have.
So here's my thing. This is where I set with the Knicks, and I would run it back. I think with
I
the
would too.
players. I think I would run it back with Cat just because like I just said. I don't think that the return for Cat is what you want it to be,
Yeah.
and so you just run it back because if you look at the Eastern Conference landscape, Jason Tatum just tore his Achilles. You're not really thinking about Boston anymore.
Mm.
Philadelphia was an abject disaster. You've got Embiid with at best robotic knees at this point, and Paul George, who's is more known as a podcaster at this point. Then you got the Cavs and the Pacers.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you that you're competing with two teams,
Right.
and then you look at, maybe Detroit makes their first real push, or maybe Orlando makes a big push, or pick your team as a new entrant into the playoffs. If I'm the Knicks, I like my chances against any of them, and I'll run those odds every time. I
I
think.
do too. I do too.
I do think that you change your coach
I do too.
because
That's what I think the move is. Yeah.
Tibbs is extremely rigid, and it works really well when it works. But when it doesn't, there's no pivoting,
Right.
and that's a problem with a lot of these old school top coaches. Is they're going to run their system and they're going to do what they know. They know that it works when it works, and the creative aspect is kind of thrown out the window. There's no creativity in their offenses and their strategery when what your plan A is doesn't work out. And so I do think you get rid of Tibbs, which is wild to think that an Eastern Conference Finals team gets rid of their coach. But I just think that that's the most logical move, because I do think that something has to be done. I just don't think I pressed that nuclear button yet,
No.
because I want Jalen Brunson on my team. I want Josh Hart. I want Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and I want Cat in a role that I don't have to depend on him wholly.
Yes.
And so I like Cat in this role. The problem is, in the playoffs, it's become you're only as strong as your weakest link, and Cat and Brunson are defensively awful, and so I just don't know how you upgrade the team, though, unless you try to emulate the Pacers. And to take this into some Grizzlies talk, you trade your Cat for role players, the guys who really excel at doing 3 or 4 things great instead of 2 things great, or 3 or 4 things really good instead of 2 things great.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could do some work back into the roster and make it better, make it more in depth, make the team have more depth. But the problem is your coach is not going to utilize them to find their roles. Like, man, I'll be frank with you. I said it on Twitter. Deuce McBride killed them in that series against Indiana when he was out there. Dude had no clue what he was doing out there in terms of like his role. And that to me comes down to a coaching situation where it's just like, hey, we're just going to throw this dude out there without real clear, distinct, like, this is what he's going to do. Man was taking 3-point shots that I was just like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing?
And that's just immature playing. That's someone who's a little bit too full of himself in a situation where he's wanting to shine. And that's also the reason why guys like DeLon Wright are still in the league.
Right.
With DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, make your jokes, if you will, but I believe that was game 3 or 4 where New York came back. It was on the heels of DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, which is wild to think, but they're just guys that you can trust. And
let's not forget, Cat had that 20-point fourth quarter in that game too. Like,
we've talked about Cat. He got crucified defensively the rest of the series, but
100%
offensive wizard. But for his offensive skills, I mean, arguably the best 7-foot shooter ever. You deal with that, and you try to put something else around him that can negate his obvious, or who can rise up the floor for him on defense.
You look at the lineups for the Knicks, when Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were on the floor together, they were fine. When Jalen was on the floor by himself without Cat, they were fine. It was when Cat was on the floor by himself that they struggled. And I think clearly when your 2 best players are a liability on offense or on defense, the way that Cat and Jalen Brunson are, you can help, kind of mind the gap in that regard. I really think I'm interested to see if they make any kind of back end moves to kind of take up for the role that Isaiah Hartenstein left. Right? Like, Isaiah Hartenstein was a guy that I think was really underappreciated um, during his time in New York. Obviously, last year, Mitchell Robinson is a fantastic offensive rebounder. He's a guy that can impact the game on so many different levels. But the problem with Mitchell is that he can't stay healthy. And so last year, when they had Isaiah Hartenstein, who could play fantastic defense, was a rebounder, but also had that little mid-range floater that he showed so much in Oklahoma City this year, that really kind of filled in the gaps for the issues that they had as a roster last year. But then you replace that with Cat, who is one of the best offensive bigs to ever play the game. But then you have Mitchell not able to play. You have Mitchell almost out for almost the entire year again with injury, and you don't have a guy. Then you have to rely on Cat for his defense, and it's just like you saw the flaws in the roster, and so I think there's some back end stuff that they could do to potentially fix that. But again, my whole point of it is I just don't think I agree with you in that New York needs to make some changes. I don't think the change is to get rid of Cat. I don't think that's the answer because I think he is in a perfect role for himself, probably the second or third best player on this team. And he doesn't need to be the guy anywhere anymore. Like he's just not built for that. I think moving off of Tibbs is a good, I think as crazy as it sounds, Dwayne Casey won coach of the year and then got fired, right?
So did what's his name? Monty Williams.
Right. Monty Williams won coach of the year, then got fired from Detroit. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I guess this is the last thing I'll say about the Knicks. I do think that it starts with a Tibbs coaching change, and I'm not a guy that has ever, I'm on record many times, said that coaches fix all your problems. But I do think with a coaching change, that helps to get them in a new school kind of thought. But with a coaching change, you're also going to have to make some moves around the periphery to get you some bench help, because if there's one thing that Tibbs never did, it's play his bench. And so maybe he's got some diamonds in the rough that he never would play, but more likely than not, they're going to have to get a 7th and 8th guy probably. But that's enough about the Knicks. They're 1-2-3 Cancun.
Chris over here says Taylor Jenkins, the New York Knicks. Let's go.
Yeah, Taylor Jenkins, bread and butter is development. This is not a team that's wanting to develop. I'm a Taylor Jenkins guy, but no, I don't think that he's the right fit for the Knicks.
Yes, Edward, I think Cat is better as the second or third best player. The fact that he doesn't have to be the guy, I think.
Some people just aren't built to take that, and it's something that I'm starting to worry about with Ja. And as we talked about it ad nauseum with Marc Gasol, like he just is not an alpha, and he's not going to vocally lead a team, and he does not need to be the guy that is number one. I don't necessarily think that about Ja, but like he's not Cat is not a leader, and he is not a number one option on a team. There's a reason why we've talked more about Cat this year and his successes, and it's because he got to defer to Brunson whenever he wanted to, and Brunson got to defer to Cat whenever he was covered up. Mm-hmm. He's just a better option there. So, briefly, I've got to say, these NBA Finals, I've been a champion of small market teams. I like to see small market teams have success. It is very jarring to just see the two logos beside each other. Game 1 Thursday of the NBA Finals, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I've kind of just thought like, ugh.
Really?
I mean, I'm cheering for Indiana, but I'm not like passionate about anything other than Oklahoma City losing at this point. And that's just not a fun thing to be about, Yeah. I'm going to be. I'm all in on Oklahoma City losing, but I want Oklahoma City to lose more than I want Indiana to win. I'm also just a certified hater of anybody that isn't my teams. Like, I have a hard time just rooting hard for any team that's not the Memphis Grizzlies, the Ole Miss Rebels, St. Louis Cardinals, New Orleans Saints. Like, we're all competing. Like, just because we're out now, I'm supposed to cheer wholeheartedly for somebody else. Like, it's just not in me.
Does this matchup intrigue you at all, though? Like, that's the question. I'm not a fan of either team. I could give a shit I'm sorry, didn't mean to cuss. I could give a crap which team loses. I don't care. Are you intrigued by the matchup?
I think the reason why I'm pessimistic about it is because I don't think Indiana stands a chance.
You don't think so at all?
No, and I've been the Indiana truther the whole time. Like
Wow.
I've been all in. I expected them to beat the New York Knicks. Uh, I no, I'm a hater of Oklahoma City. They've played in 3 series right now, and they've lost 2 games.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, they lost. Did they go to 7 with Denver?
They lost 3 in the Denver series.
I
Yeah.
think I think more likely than not, over a 50% chance, we're gonna look back at this and be like, Denver was the best team that Oklahoma faced, and it was in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah. Interesting.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope, like I said, I'm all on Halliburton Magic here. Bring a title back to the basketball mecca in Indiana. Like I'm all in. I just don't feel it in my gut that it's going to happen.
Anthony Edwards, in the post game of the wrap up of their series against Oklahoma City, called the Oklahoma City defense 15 puppets on a string.
Yeah.
And I go, there is one of the things that makes Indiana so funny to me and so intriguing to me is that Indiana plays ball. It feels like they have a bunch of the most elite college basketball players you can possibly find, and they play ball like a college basketball team with the best players ever.
I just feel like Oklahoma City is super Indiana. Like you're talking about 15 puppets on a string. That's what Indiana is at their best. I made the parallel before with Memphis football from a few years back. It may have been under Norvell. They were like the worst defense.
So when they beat
points wise
in Memphis
in FBS, but they led the country in turnovers, and all they were doing is like, I don't care if you score a 60-yard touchdown. We're just going to jump in the passing lanes and hope we get a pick six. That's our best defense. That's what feels like both of these teams are. But I feel like Oklahoma City can actually be normal and be successful. I don't feel like Indiana can just be normal and be successful.
I think Indiana thrives on that, creating so much chaos that defenses break down against them.
And who does that better than anybody? Oklahoma City. They
led
the NBA in turnovers all year long. Points off turnovers. Like they're just. I honestly think that the Knicks may have had a better shot just because they can at least do some. They can, if they don't turn the ball over, they can set it down in a half court game and hopefully win 88-90. I don't think Indiana can do that. You're going to have to get in a shootout, and it's going to be fast paced. And I feel like that plays right into OKC's strengths.
What's interesting about this series is that usually, like, you have these like David versus Goliath type matchups where it's the young upstart team that's taking on the grizzled vet dynasty of
Right.
That has a proven track record of winning championships, and you're rooting for the magic of that team to, like, just the historical narratives around the Indiana Pacers to take over, and just it's their team of destiny. And this is such a different one because OKC is not that team, that grizzled team. They are as young as anybody is in the league. They are just freaking ridiculously good at basketball as a team. They are. Let me ask you this. Do they go down? Where do you place them in terms of the pantheon of great teams, like the most dominant teams? Yes, that we've ever seen in the NBA.
I'm not a historian by any means, but I'm going to say if they win this in 4 or 5 games, you've got to start talking like that. The Warriors team,
the 2016,
with KD's.
2016,
not the 73 win because they didn't win at all that year, but the next year where they started the back-to-back. I mean, they won 68 games in the regular season, and in this scenario, they will have won the championship with only losing 4 games, 5 games. Like that's historic stuff, and it pains me to see. But I mean, obviously, you put them above any other Oklahoma City team, and there's some great ones.
Yeah,
that one team that made the finals with Harden and Westbrook and Durant, and then you'll go look at Durant's Warriors, and who else do you put up there with dominant? Start to finish and ending in a title.
Yeah, it's wild. Oklahoma City is so good that in my brain, I've almost convinced myself that this team is an older veteran. They've been around forever, and they haven't been. Like that is how good
No, they
this
really
team
haven't.
is.
It's frustrating.
It's
It's so
so
frustrating.
frustrating.
And honestly, it's just the worst. It's the worst because they're in our division. They're on our timeline. We wanted to call them peers. All Grizzlies fans everywhere hate them because one, the historical rivalry with the KD Oklahoma City teams, but also that we just felt like they bit our style with all the post game antics and the dancing and all that stuff. It's like, oh, you're just copying us. Well, guess what? It's theirs now
It's
because
there.
they won 68 games. They've sustained it, and it's culminated to a 68 win regular season record
Plus 12
and an
more wins
NBA
in the play.
Finals win.
Yeah,
Like
plus
it's theirs now.
it's theirs.
Now we have to find something else because this is like back when we were conquering lands, back in the way before the United States was around, when we were settling, everybody like I don't really want to make a joke about Native Americans.
Let's not make
like,
jokes about
like it's like oh, you could be, but you just came in. These people just came in from the West and they just leveled you, and you're just mad. But it's like, I mean, I guess we just have to live here underneath their rule now because what are we going to do about it?
it's one of those
where
things.
the Grizzlies are at with Oklahoma City right now. It's like they
I'm,
passed us, and it sucks, and we can be mad about it, but it's the truth.
Well, I'm going to pivot away from Native American genocide and say
it wasn't right. And what Oklahoma City's doing is not right either.
It's not right either.
Oklahoma City you were wrong for taking our stuff and making us live with it. But the winners write the history books. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I said this on the last $2 show with Rusty. I hope that the Grizzlies and even the best players on the Grizzlies teams mimic some of these things that the Oklahoma City Thunder do. The teams like the Knicks and the Pacers. I said this on the show. I hope that they get a little bit more corny about basketball, like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander does. Like people make fun of him. He's a weirdo. Jalen Brunson, he's a goofball. Tyler Halliburton, he's a little weird. They're a bunch of little cornballs. Man, I want the Grizzlies to adopt that mentality of we're just all about basketball, man. Like we're just gonna hoop. And let the being cool, let the other stuff, let all that nonsense just fade away and just be about the hoop, right?
That's why I was so hesitant to blame any one of them players all year, because all year long you saw your superstar seem like he didn't care about playing basketball.
Right.
And that's where the blame lied for me. Too many times do you see players in the NBA take games off, take weeks off, don't put forth 100% effort when they do play. And you look and you saw the 4 teams that made it to the conference finals, all of them played basketball all year long.
Yeah.
They just did. And they were about the right stuff. If basketball was first, and I'll never be the guy that says, oh, you're too nerdy about basketball, weirdo. Like, if you're good, you're good.
You're good.
Yeah. If that means that Ja Morant turns into Halliburton so that he unlocks it, then fine. But if that also means that Ja just shuts down and doesn't talk to anybody and turns into a hermit, but comes out 82 games next year and is first team all defense and we're in the Western Conference Finals, then that's great too. Just whatever you've got to do to unlock that in your own head, you've got to do it.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Daniel said this. He said 12 has to step up and be a professional. And he may need a vet to show him the way. We've tried that. It didn't work. Right? Like the Grizzlies tried it and it didn't work. Right? And I think
I will change that for a minute. Like, I don't think like we're going into year 8 with Ja, right? 7.
He's the vet now. He's the vet.
He is the vet, but we may have to start asking the question, like, he may be the best player on this team, but maybe we have to bring in a long-term leader. But it's not to show Ja the way, but it's you bring in somebody that just has the ear of the locker room and that Ja has to listen to. But that has to be a permanent fixture, not a 1 year. Let me teach you something, because you're right. We have tried that and he bucked it.
I think the scary part is, Drew, is that I think that this whole conversation around someone showing him the way, I don't think he's searching for the way.
Right.
The Grizzlies
No,
and
I agree.
I think Grizzlies and Grizzlies fans have to put all of our eggs in Ja Morant's basket, and I
Yeah,
think that
of
is a
course.
risky investment.
No, but you've got to do it.
But
you will do it.
You have to.
And you will be happy about it. Yeah, so Daniel does respond back. Has to be a vet that Ja wants. Any vet doesn't have to work.
Derrick Rose was his favorite player growing up. His favorite player.
Yeah, but the thing with Derrick and with Marcus Smart, I believe that the vet that you bring in has to lead by example, and it has to be in games. Like a practice vet is not a vet that's going to be listened to. Derrick Rose, he was not built to play in the NBA anymore. Marcus Smart couldn't stay healthy. And then it becomes a guy in street clothes telling Ja, who's playing, hey, don't do that. And who's going to listen to that guy? It's got to be a guy that can lead by example too. Yeah. And it's got to be a guy you can trust, which takes out guys like, bringing back Jay Crowder, because Jay Crowder can't play anymore.
No.
Solomon Hill can't play anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if he's played all the last 2 years.
That was 8 years ago with Ja Morant. Like I legitimately, I'm at the point where I go, listen, that for this team to be a contending team, the best players have to be the vets on the team. Yeah. And I don't think we're on this timeline anymore of like let Ja and Jaren and Dez kind of grow into this leadership role and bring in these old vets around them to teach them the way. I think that was 3 years ago, and Zach Kleiman blew past that, right? Like he blew past that. Yeah. Like didn't do those things, didn't make that happen. He doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on youth, kept bringing young guys underneath Ja, Dez, and Jaren. So that timeline is done. Like that's done. Like that, I think that timeline is over. Now it's about the vets being your best players if you want to truly contend. And so the question you have to ask yourself, and I'm not saying that this is the right move or that this is going to be a successful move for the Grizzlies. I'm just saying it's the reality of the situation that now with this team to be a contending team, Ja, Dez, and Jaren have to be the vets on this team. The question is, can they do it? And I have my doubts. On it.
Me too. I do too. But you're tethered to that. You're tethered to Ja. You're not tethered to the other two. I mean, that'd be a massive trade one way or the other.
What do you think
Daniel
about this?
Says trade Giannis? Absolutely. 100. I mean,
I would trade a lot. Like
I would trade
2 out of the 3. I would trade 2 out of the 3 core guys to get Giannis on this team. Absolutely.
But I wouldn't trade Ja and get back Giannis. And
no, because then you're just stuck where you're at. You're
then you've got Milwaukee. Yeah, it's just Milwaukee on the river here.
Let me ask you this: get back to the OKC Pacers series. Is there any matchups in this series that makes you think that Indiana might have a shot? I think Edward up here said earlier.
No, I think with Indiana, it's always just about the collective.
Yeah,
it's just always about the collective. Like we can talk about Obi Toppin, and we could talk about Miles Turner and Aaron Nesmith and all these guys who played massive roles.
Right.
But it's a collective, and so just like Oklahoma City is, to be honest. That's why I'm saying this is just such. It just feels like Budweiser and Bud Light here. Like it's just. They're minor keys of the next, and I just that's where I'm at with it.
All right, well, hey, listen, are we good on this topic? Are we good to move on?
Yeah. Right, let's transition to our third segment.
Let's do this. We have I want to show you a commercial for our sponsor, Ounce of Hope. Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code Bluff City for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer. Yo, I want to just say this real quick about Ounce of Hope. Great partner with Bluff City Media, the $2 Sports Show, and the Daily Grind. We talk about in that commercial the seltzers that are so good, and I enjoy them. They're super tasty, zero sugar, just really great for somebody who has who's been diagnosed type 2 diabetes. Like, those seltzers are great for me to be able to drink something and just kind of just feel good and not drink a bunch of sugar stuff. But one of the products that has really changed my space over the last couple of weeks, I found these pills called the Rebound pills from Ounce of Hope. It's a mixture between CBD and curcumin. I don't know exactly what curcumin is. I do know what CBD is, but it is these pills that basically they're called Rebound. And Drew, have you ever just experienced like waking up in the morning just feeling like, man, I didn't sleep well, my brain's fuzzy, I'm having a hard time really kind of getting a grasp on it, like whatever the day before did to you, it just kind of messed you up, like you're just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. Have we talked about the fact that I have 4 kids?
Yes, that's a good point. These pills, these are non-psychoactive, no THC, is CBD and curcumin. These are called Rebound, and you take 2 of these a day, man, and I'm telling you, it's like this fog, this mental fog, just this haze in my brain just went gone away. And so I can't recommend these enough. These are phenomenal. They help recover just from even like workouts, like just getting rid of like some of that, the soreness. I mean, it's a great pill for just overall health and overall, clearing up your brain. So shout out to Ounce of Hope.
Good deal. Boy, that was a good ad read. You let the people know. You let the people know.
Daniel, there's a human named Kirk.
Yeah, it's Powdered Kirk.
Powdered Kirk.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to hit the bumper video. This is our last segment. This is where we talk about just anything else that comes up on sports world. As you can tell, this is a $2 Sports Show, and we are college baseball guys. And so bear with us for a minute because this was an action-packed college baseball weekend. We had regionals, 16 regionals with 4 teams in each regional. If you do that math really quick, you'll know that there were 64 teams in this playoffs. Ole Miss hosted a regional. Mississippi State went to a regional in Tallahassee, Florida, where they went 2-2, which resulted in them going home. They won 2 games against Northeastern Community College in Boonville.
Is that why Rusty's not on the show today?
That's why Rusty's not on the show. And they lost 2 games to Florida State.
Oof.
Yeah, they are at home. They did hire a new baseball coach. I'm sure me and Rusty will talk about that a lot on Wednesday. Ole Miss lost the first game to the 4 seed, Murray State, which was a very sad night. But
my wife's alma mater, Murray State, played volleyball
Murray
there.
State.
Shout out.
Funny story. Let me come back to that. Then Ole Miss rallied back, and they've got a deciding game 7 against Murray State again tonight in Oxford at 5 p.m.
Will you be okay if I root for Murray State? Is that okay for you? With you?
I'm used to being rooted against. So,
okay.
My mom said, "Did you know?" They were watching the broadcast. Did you know that all those Murray State coaches are wearing John Morant shoes, and everybody on the broadcast kept calling him Josh Morant? And I was like, "Mom, first, I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Never watched an NBA game in her life. She knows who John Morant is." And I was like, "You know why? It's because John Morant went to Murray State. They've got an inside scoop." So yeah, all the coaches wear like the Murray State John ones.
Yep.
And so they made that comment about that on the broadcast. But
so they're pretty uncomfortable for the entirety of the game, is what you're saying. Their feet are hurting.
Listen, I've got 3 pair, and I was a week when I bought them, but they're not comfortable. I need to get a pair of Jaw 2s to see.
Yes, I've heard the Jaw 2s and the 3s are much more comfortable. I have 7 pairs of the Jaw 1s, and
I've got 3.
They are not comfortable. I
was going to stop after 2, but then they came out with those reverse scratches, and I had to get them.
I got the reverse scratches. Yeah, they're fresh. Yeah.
So just to outline major upsets in the regionals, the 1 and 2 overall seed Vanderbilt and Texas both got eliminated from their home
Shout out
regional.
to the SEC, baby. But it was bound to happen, right? The
It
SEC
does.
had
Weird
the
stuff
SEC had
happens.
58 teams in this regionals,
Yeah,
right?
no, for real, they had 13.
Yeah.
Um, UTSA beats Texas twice.
AC, baby.
To
Let's go.
the Roadrunners will go to the Super Regionals. Arkansas dominated as a 3 seed. Auburn dominated as the 4 seed. North Carolina, the 5 seed, has a game 7 against Oklahoma, winner take all. LSU's got a game 7 against the Trojans of Little Rock.
What?
The Little Rock Trojans beat LSU last night in Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to force a game 7. The biggest news for Ole Miss fans is that they were paired with the Athens, Georgia regional. And Georgia, being the 7 seed, being a higher seed than Ole Miss, the 10, would have hosted the Super Regionals. But they got beat. They got put out of their own regional. If Ole Miss wins today, they host a Super Regional in Oxford, Mississippi against Duke.
Are you going to go?
I'm going tonight. Yep. I bought tickets today. Yeah. Me and my boy are going to get in the vehicle with my parents and head to Oxford, Mississippi to watch the final game of the Supers tonight. So yeah, I'm super excited about that.
As a Memphis Tiger fan, as somebody, Memphis Tiger baseball has struggled. They obviously didn't make their conference tournament again this year. And so Memphis baseball has never been just a really hot commodity, I don't think, in terms of going to see them play. What are we missing out on? Like, talk to the Memphis fans. What is an Ole Miss home series in baseball like as a fan?
Well, if you go watch Memphis play, do they play in AutoZone Park?
Nope.
They don't do that.
They play on the South Campus on Park and Getwell.
It's probably, if I had to guess, seats 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 folks.
Yeah.
There's 12,000 people in Oxford University Stadium, Swayze Field, in Oxford, Mississippi. There's like 16 at Duty Noble and Starkville. Every year, the SEC and 4 schools in particular, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and LSU, are just massive, massive SEC venues that care deeply. And they take a college football vibe to it. I mean, it's very loud. It's very raucous. You've got the student sections, and Ole Miss and Mississippi State both. The student section
in the outfield, right?
Technically off campus. I don't know how they got those lines divided up, but they allow you to bring in coolers with your own beverages of choice as long as they're not in glass bottles. So I mean, it is a raucous environment, and it's a sight to see, to be honest with you. Anybody who sees baseball and they think of high school, or they think of Memphis, or they think of, even like the Redbirds, it's a quieter, kind of easier environment. It's just, you go and enjoy your time in the warm weather, and you have a beverage or two with your family. Like, yes, you have that in Oxford, but it's also intense. The care factor is college football levels. And so, dude, if you ever get the chance, like today, if you're not busy, go get you a General Admission ticket. Just go stand out there. It's only an hour down the road from you. I'll meet you. We'll hang out. We got General Admission tickets. We're going to, just kind of find a spot to sit or stand and just take it in. But it is an absolute, it's second to only football at Ole Miss and Mississippi State and LSU and Arkansas. Basketball doesn't hold a candle at any of these schools compared to baseball. It's just a care factor, and it's something that's so foreign to fans.
It is
of other college baseball, because college baseball is a lot like Olympic sports at other schools, where it's just like, it's there, and a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand people go, but not in Oxford, not in Starkville, not in Fayetteville, not in Baton Rouge. Even Knoxville's coming up there really hard. They've got a really good home field environment. Texas A&M does too. Texas, I mean, SEC just does it different. And I don't think anything I can say can sway a hater to become a believer. You just have to go.
You just have to go. What? So coming out of the regionals, number 1, number 2 team lost. Who's the favorite now?
So Arkansas is going to be by far the favorite. They dominated their way. They're the 3 seed here. Auburn is the 4 seed. They dominated their regional. They've both punched their tickets. Outside of that, Florida State, the 9 seed, is the next one that's went 3-0, and has already punched their ticket to the Super Regionals. The 11 seed, the 12 seed, are the only other two that are determined right now. So you've got the 5 seed North Carolina, LSU, Oregon State as the 8 seed, Ole Miss, and Ole Miss, and then Southern Miss is the 16, and Tennessee is the 14. Are all on the line today.
Wow.
So there's five final game 7s, winner take all. It is double elimination. So
wow, big day in college baseball.
Like Ole Miss had to beat Murray State twice because they're coming out of the losers bracket.
Hey, check your mic real quick.
Yeah, Drew. Can you hear now?
I think it's coming out of your headphones. Sorry, guys. Some great podcasting.
What you got to do with it right now? For some reason, my mic came unplugged.
Okay, that's cool.
But hey, we're at the hour mark. This is the $2 Sports Show. We are live now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock. Appreciate everybody for joining in. Rusty will be back with me on Tuesday. Good Lord willing.
Nope. Wednesday. On Wednesday.
I told you I'd mess it up, and I waited to the very end. As my grandma would say, we'll be back Wednesday. If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise.
That's all right.
So until then, as Rusty says, be a friend to anybody who needs a friend. And you always get what you pay for with the $2 Sports Show. We will see you on Wednesday, 11 o'clock, Bluff City Media.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page, like this video, and leave a comment. We will see you back here in a few days.